Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're totally dismantling the mechanics of high-velocity organizations. We're diving straight into why execution speed is absolutely your biggest competitive advantage and exactly how the smartest businesses out there are scaling their operations with, honestly, just ruthless efficiency. So, if you want to understand how to move radically faster without completely breaking your company's infrastructure in the process, you're in the perfect place. Let's get right into it.
Let's start off by addressing a massive paradox that so many leadership teams are wrestling with right now. Is your team working harder but moving slower? We often see this widening gap between human exertion and actual operational output. Your people are exhausted, right? They're putting in crazy long hours, yet the deliverables are just crawling across the finish line. The issue isn't a lack of hustle. It's that as companies scale up, the complexity of their internal processes scales even faster, and that traps your really high-performing teams in this web of administrative sludge.
Okay, moving right into Section 1, the pace of modern business.
Now, there's this really pervasive myth in management circles. If execution is slow, well, the team must be slacking. It's that old assumption of a lazy team. But the data reveals a completely different and, frankly, much more common reality. It's operational friction. We consistently see that teams can be working at absolute maximum capacity, burning the midnight oil, while workflows still move incredibly slowly. The problem isn't your people's work ethic, guys. It's a broken, friction-filled system that literally punishes effort rather than rewarding it. And when you blame the people instead of the process, you're just going to lose top talent, and you'll never actually solve the delay.
Which brings us to Section 2, what actually slows businesses down.
Let's break down the anatomy of this friction. First up, we've got workflow bottlenecks. This is where an entire high-stakes project just grinds to a complete halt because it's waiting for one single person's input. Then there are communication delays. You know the ones, those simple, quick questions that somehow devolve into a 3-day, 20-reply email thread where nobody actually makes a decision. Next is the pain of fragmented systems. Imagine the sheer waste of having your team manually copying and pasting client data between 3 different browser tabs just to generate one report. And finally, repetitive administrative work. These are those mundane, low-value tasks that just eat up huge portions of your team's day before they even get to do their core jobs. These bottlenecks act like operational quicksand, literally swallowing your team's momentum.
So let's talk solutions in Section 3, accelerating workflows with AI.
This is where we bring artificial intelligence into the mix. And no, not as some mythical silver bullet that magically runs your company for you, but as a highly targeted structural lubricant. When you apply it correctly, AI attacks friction in 4 systematic steps. Step 1, it reduces repetitive tasks. Think about, say, automatically routing invoices instead of having a human read every single one. Step 2, it moves information faster, instantly pulling data from your CRM right into your project management software. Step 3, it improves workflow coordination by triggering automatic handoffs the very second a task is marked complete. No more of that, "oh, I thought you were doing it" confusion. And Step 4, it supports quicker operational decisions by giving leaders synthesized real-time data so you don't have to hunt down spreadsheets. By strategically deploying AI across these 4 areas, the actual work just slides effortlessly through your business systems.
Now, an important caveat here in Section 4, why speed needs structure.
Speed without structure creates mistakes. Really let that sink in for a second. Sustainable execution depends entirely on maintaining operational workflows that are organized, visible, and deeply manageable, especially when you're accelerating. Look, if your underlying processes are chaotic, injecting AI to make things move faster is only going to ensure that you make terrible errors at a much higher velocity. It's kind of like putting a sports car engine into a vehicle with no brakes. AI is absolutely incredible, but it relies on you having structural guardrails in place so that rapid execution doesn't just evolve into absolute chaos.
When faced with delays, the knee-jerk reaction for a lot of managers is to just turn up the heat. They try to force speed by piling pressure onto their teams. But brute forcing your way to faster execution really only yields one predictable result, and that's catastrophic burnout. The smarter, infinitely more scalable solution? Improving workflow design. The real key to sustainable velocity isn't demanding that your staff type faster or work weekends. It's building fundamentally better systems. Because better systems inherently create better speed, and they do it without sacrificing the sanity of your workforce.
Let's make this practical. In Section 5, finding your starting point.
To actually deploy these insights, you need to ruthlessly audit your own operations, and it starts with one simple diagnostic question. Where does work keep waiting? You need to pinpoint exactly where tasks sit completely idle in your pipeline. Is it a finalized contract just sitting unread in a legal inbox? Is it a piece of code waiting 3 days for a peer review? Actually, scratch that. It could be anything. Whenever a work product goes from active development to just gathering digital dust, you've found a prime opportunity for AI-driven workflow automation.
Next up, you have to identify where approvals are actively destroying your momentum. Come on, we all know the dread of an amazing, fast-moving project suddenly being held hostage because it requires a VP's signature, and that VP has been in back-to-back meetings since Tuesday. If work is bottlenecking at a specific desk or management tier just waiting for a green light, your operational flow is fundamentally broken. AI and smart routing can literally pre-approve standard requests or dynamically flag only the exceptions for human review, which completely clears that desk out.
Finally, ask yourself, where's communication creating friction? You have to identify those silos where information gets trapped or misconstrued. And the reason you want to look here is that eliminating communication delays is often your fastest, easiest path to an immediate win. By fixing how your teams hand off information, you instantly boost the company's overall responsiveness. Attack this communication friction first, and you'll build the momentum you need to tackle those larger systemic changes.
All right, let's lock in the core thesis here. Modern businesses compete almost entirely on speed, but sustainable speed is a byproduct of smoothed-out AI-assisted systems, not overworked humans. Integrating AI correctly means you're building smoother operational pipelines, enabling much faster workflows, actively reducing that crippling operational friction, and drastically improving your market responsiveness. That right there is the blueprint for achieving hypergrowth and scaling your output, all without crushing the very team that got you there in the first place. I'm going to leave you with this final thought to evaluate your own operations. Are your systems built for pressure, or are they built for speed? Take a moment to really let that resonate. Seriously evaluate where you can eliminate your own operational quicksand today. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer on AI-powered growth. If you found these insights valuable, make sure to join us for our next explainer, where we'll dive into how AI helps businesses become infinitely more resilient and adaptable during times of extreme market change. See you then!